than Martin and Ella do. So play around Flandre, play around you.
We'll certainly see if that will succeed as we get into game number 2 right now. Picks and bans on your screen. Twisted Fate taken away from Pawn, and Rek'Sai from Clear Love. Riven again being banned away from Flandre, and Azir getting a hit from EDG.
Yeah, Azir's been banned back-to-back on purple side. Now Azir is going to be a massive pick, not just for you, but also for Pawn. He's a great Azir player. I really like Snake's adaptation here to make Rek'Sai hit the bench.
Again, the Lulu gets banned away from Pawn, and the Kalista banned purple side. No chance Martin's going to sneak that through. It's 5-16. Snake have got their pick of the litter.
Kalista just offers way too much jungle control and objective control. She pretty much shores up any weakness in a team's jungler with her ability to secure Dragon and Baron, so no surprise to see her continue to be a staple from purple side.
We'll have to see what Snake decide to go for with this first pick. Janna, Gragas still standing. They've got some disengage, but a first lock gangplank from Snake Esports.
Okay, and this is what we talked about. You know, on the new patch, you've got a lot of power picks available. Gangplank was banned last time around, and if this is going to go into the hands of the mid lane or the top lane. On the other side, though, the champion that was also banned was Fiora.
Ooh, Fiora being hovered right now by Amazing J, as he could look for the outplay once again. Instead, swaps it over to Fizz. That could be for Pawn, or he could take it himself. We'll see what they decide to go for, as Clearlove says to Beast, hey, I saw you take this champion last game. Didn't do so well. Let me show you how it's done. And he locks in the Elise.
Curious where that Gangplank's going to go. So we saw Amazing J kind of flicking between Fiora and Fizz. He decides to hide his hand, picking up that Braum for Mako, another big high priority power pick just because of Braum's Unbreakable and how it answers to poke compositions and wave clear in general.
Yeah, we're looking for Snake now on their second round draft. Thresh now locked in for Ella. No disengage just yet. We still might see a Gragas, but Beast could quickly qualm those contentions as he looks at Lee Sin right now. And that would mean Snake want to go in.
It's a definite shift of style from Beast normally. Again, Beast was the Cinderhulk jungler for Snake. As soon as Cinderhulk kind of fell out of the meta, that's when ZZR got brought in on board, was pulling out things like the Echo, like the Gragas, like the Elise jungle. So going back to Beast, would be a little bit curious to see him play Lee Sin. But instead, they're going to hold off on it. They're going to pick up Corki. Yeah,
Corki and Thresh now locked in. That's priority on the bottom lane for Snake Esports. So far, EDG still holding on to that mid lane. Deft giving Tarek the quick old hover, but swaps it away right quick. Could still see that mid laner picked up for EDG. Might see a top laner for Amazing J. We still don't know where that Gangplank is going to go just yet, but Fizz locked in for Pawn and Tristana for Deft.
Okay, so we don't see a lot of Tristana in the LPL. She's appeared a few times, but this is actually, I'm trying to remember if Deft has actually even played at this split at all. On the other side, though, Amazing J is a big Fizz player, so that Fizz can be a flex between Pawn and Amazing J. We all know Pawn is a massive Fizz player.
Very big fan of the champion himself. We'll see if he ends up taking it, as he swapped through summoner spells a couple times. He did have Flash Ghost, and then he had Flash. Now he has Flash Ignite. So,
but again, this is just something very different. As I think we're good. This is something very different in terms of EDG's draft phase. So again, if you think about Invictus Gaming, EDG's draft looked pretty abysmal. It was very suspect. You know. Picking champions very early, getting counter-picked a lot. The fact that they're using Fizz as a flex pick, but they're still opening themselves out to look for the counter-pick for Pawn, should you decide to lock in that Ahri, I think is very smart. And it's kind of the evolution and adaptation from Invictus Gaming to Snake.
We'll see what that is going to be for the last pick. Snake on the far side, lock in Lee Sin and Ahri for themselves. That is going to be Lee Sin for Beast, a bit of a tangent away from something that is a bit more standard for him, but you last picking the mid lane for Snake. as EDG look to counter with a mid laner of their own.
And this is what we talked about. You know, EDG's draft phase looks much stronger since the last time we saw them in a best of 5. So Pawn now trying to figure out what type of assassin he wants to take into Ahri.
Yeah, it looks like it is going to be the LeBlanc picked up by Pawn as he is getting ready for this one. Our final team compositions are on the screen, as you can see. It's going to be Gangplank versus Fizz in the top lane.
Okay.
Looks fun.
This is going to be fun. Now, we've seen some Gangplank played at the International Wild Card by Saros, the mid laner for Detonation Focus Me. We're not going to get to see it into that top lane there. Curious what Flandre is going to build. I don't want to comment on anything just because Flandre can go so many different directions.
Just because it is Flandre, he is the guy who brought Cinderhulk to the top lane. We'll see what is going to happen for this final set, but I'm really excited by Snake. This isn't a team composition that's going to sit back and wait 40 minutes. This isn't a team composition that's going to let EDG win the game passively. This is a team comp that's going to fight.
This is proactive, and this is trying to find early lane advantages and early lane strength. So Snake immediately changing up their identity and their role from team to team.
See if they can end up taking this as we prepare to get onto the Rift for game number 2. Again, it's Snake versus EDG, and after the game 1 slaughter, we're getting into game number 2. In the top, your eyes do not deceive you. It's Gangplank versus Fizz, Flandre and Amazing J in the jungle. Beast and Clearlove on Lee Sin and Elites.
It's just, again, it's not really a Beast champion, and it's not really a Clearlove champion. We'll see how it works, but in the mid lane, it's the Assassins. Ahri versus LeBlanc, you versus Pawn.
Yeah, that's going to be a skill matchup if I've ever seen one. Lastly, we've got our AD carry and support coming up. It's Martin and Deft on Corki and Tristana, and to round things out, we're going to be seeing Ella and Mako on Thresh and Braum.
Pretty much their signature champions. Ella is a big Janna and Thresh player. He's fantastic on both of them. And Mako was the first LPL support to bring out Braum in the Demacia Cup.
Yeah, looks to be very exciting. Your teams are ready. We're getting onto the Rift right now. And we have returned to the Rift. Welcome back, everyone. It is Snake versus EDG. And after that amazing game number 1 from EDG, Snake find themselves down 1 point in this best of 3. Again, this is double elimination, so even if Snake lose here, they will not be out of that chance to get into Worlds completely. Oh, looks like that ward wasn't quite completely cleared, but Snake looking to come back with an aggressive, proactive team comp in this game number 2.
The thing that I already like is the fact that Snake are looking for 1v1 lanes, that they're not looking to lane swap. You know, again, Flandre is their primary carry. Snake do this all the time where they'll lane swap him, and they just trust that he can make up for any sort of advantage that he sacrifices come that mid-game power farm. But just put Flandre off to a good start. Put him on the right foot, see if he can carry the game. And on a champion like Gangplank, you've got a lot of options to do that.
Yeah, it looks to be a very fun top lane. Fizz versus Gangplank. That is going to be an exciting top lane. And as you mentioned, no lane swap starting out from anyone in this early set. Deep Ward should be spotting out the duo on the far side as Flandre, starting off with the barrel, is prepared to help Beast out with that drop. Oh.
Now, the big thing about Gangplank is when he's looking to trade, just watch his sword. So with his passive, do have a bit of a double jungle going, so just to make sure that they're not going into a lane swap, that's why we see this. So with his passive, his sword will light up to give an indication that it's going to do bonus damage off of the auto attack, and that's kind of what you have to trade around in terms of Gangplank versus Fizz. But Fizz has a lot of tools to do that, but I'm just really curious how this is going to play out. And they actually give him the blue buff.
Yeah, and he's now headed towards the top lane to deal with Amazing J. He's got a camp of his own, but no blue buff. Looks to be an exciting top lane as everyone trades it away, and already Amazing J. Just an omen of what's to come as consistent harass comes out from Flandre early on, while Deft and Mako look to shove in the bottom lane.
Setting down his barrel and actually playing on top of it, threatening Amazing J that should Fizz look for the the all-in that he'll just proc his barrel, so cute.
Just a little bit of trading going on. Meanwhile, junglers clearing camps as best they can. Mako gets a ward in the tri-brush. And Ella manages to get a ward placed into the river to keep an eye on Clearlove should he look for any sort of early game. Clearlove, however, is on the other side of the map.
And immediately we have a completely different pace of game. Again, there's no lane swap, so there's no early dragon trading. This is all just the 1v1 and elongated lanes. We typically find advantage through excessive ganking, and here we go.
Cocoon finds Flandre. He's going to take just a bit of damage here, chunked down to about half of his health. But he gets out alive without burning his flash. Meanwhile, Beast is on the other side. Flash play as Ella goes in. He could be looking for first blood. Deft hops the wall to get away, dodges the sonic wave, but he's deep in enemy territory right now. He's about to walk into an Ahri in the jungle, loops around knowing that she's coming for him, but Beast has got his eyes on target. Will he be able to land the sonic wave? Deft is almost certainly dead. Flash dodges out of the way. He's looking for the execution, but he's healed up too much. This is not a good position for him to be in. He's buying so much time for his team as he hops around once again, dodges even more of the skill shots. Deft is going to die, but he's wasted so much time.
But the time didn't amount to anything. It's not like EDG took a Baron off of Deft going for a stroll through the forest. Yeah, he stalled out time. It looked like he was perhaps going for the execution, but he had flash when he initially made it into the dragon pit. Never once thought to flash the dragon wall and attempt to walk to safety. So I don't know if that was a miscommunication, but definitely a fumble in my eyes in terms of call there.
Yeah, a bit of a misplay coming out of EDG after that early successful gank, and already we've got a completely different game. As you said it, the pace of this game is so much slower than the previous one. So much time has been afforded to this laning phase so far. Clearlove could look for a bit of a gank onto pawn here.
Big thing, though, is the fact that Martin was able to find that first blood, as well as a big CS discrepancy between him and Deft. Deft also has no flash available, so expect to see Beast punish that, but we may actually see him run into Clearlove.
Ooh, Cocoon is not going to land. They're doing a lot of damage to you. He flashes over Repel, tries to chase Pawn, is taking so much damage from Beast. He jukes it around. Is he going to be caught? He ward jumps forward. Beast looks and targets the right one. Sonic Wave lands. He gets the kill.
And Pawn was doing such a good job trying to block the Sonic Wave with the LeBlanc clone. I think he was actually trying to juke Beast at the very end, sending his clone one direction and him the other one, but Beast so patient with that cooldown, and it immediately translates into a gank on top.
Uh-oh, amazing Jay now too far forward, dashes and smoothly slides out of that gank. No kill top lane, but Snake are ahead 2-0.
Completely different reset there, so we asked, you know, would Snake be able to shake off the momentum from last game? Cleanse themselves and look for a fresh start? And the answer is yes.
It's looking much better for Snake in this particular game as they're up 1,200 gold. Deft has closed the gold discrepancy somewhat. He's evened it up in CS and is probably now only down about that 400 kill gold from the first blood. But more importantly, Martin has an experience advantage right now.
He's also got a massive item advantage. The fact that the phage is complete. There's not a ton of kill pressure unless some CC lands from Ella. Just in terms of Corki versus Tristana, she's still incredibly safe with her rocket jump available despite the fact that she doesn't have flash. Although, Mako, this is a little bit curious.
Ella scouts out the dragon. Mako was looking for a few deep wards and ended up taking some punishment because of it. Not from any other junglers or anyone from Snake's side, but from the dragon as he walks his way back down to the bottom lane. And things seem to finally be slowing down just a little bit more.
Question's now going to be, where do these junglers strike next, and which team is going to pull the trigger on the dragon? We've got ultimates all over the field available.
Certainly to find out as blue buff is being handed over to Pawn. Here's it. Clearlove has been jungling rather quickly. He's actually 4 creeps ahead, though Beast is 1-0-1. So trading in the bottom forces Martin to Valkyrie to safety.
Mako and Deft incredibly punishing as soon as they realize that Ella isn't in the area, based on the fact that Mako has gotten fantastic deep vision down for EDG on that side of the jungle. Mako actually places more wards than any other LPL support when EDG are behind.
Well, we can see that those wards are being placed right now. Defensive pinks on both sides of the river.
A very deep, aggressive pink from Snake, however, on Clearlove's red.
That should spot him as he heads around the wall there, but we'll keep an eye on whether or not. Yep, there goes the ping. They've spotted him out now. Clearlove is on that side of the map. How do Snake play around this? They see him at the Krug camp right now. Syros probably going to have to play a little bit more defensive. He's actually got a pretty healthy CS lead of his own against Amazing J.
Did you just call Flandre Syros?
I did. I so did. Because he's gangplank.
Yeah. But you're absolutely right. The question is, you know, how does Snake play around that information because that pink ward is gathering intel for them? I like to think of wards as little spies. Pawn being pretty cute. So the thing with Ahri is anytime she wants to make a really successful trade, you wait for the auto attack animation of your enemy champion, just because the auto attack animation to go through the entire thing, it's almost like a little mini CC. And then the key is you want to hit the Q, Ahri's Q, at max distance, so you immediately get the return damage back from it. But meanwhile, in the bot lane.
Action in the bottom lane. Pawn. Oh! Solo kills. On to you. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get to see that, but I'm sure it was very fast considering the amount of damage being dealt.
An incredibly close, dangerous game, really putting Pawn ahead there. It almost looked like it was going to be a one-for-one trade, but the outplay comes.
Amazing trade. Jay looks to trade it with Flandre. Flash is used. He just needs a little bit more, but he trades it over. He's healing. Amazing Jay is getting seriously low. The turret shot comes out. He dies. And Flandre saunters back to base. EDG secure their first dragon, but now they've lost a kill in every lane.
That said, they pull the trigger on the objective knowing that they have the advantage in the mid lane. The fact that Yu was back, that Pawn had just won, and that they had a slight window of opportunity in the bot lane with Martin and Ella not being in position. So good response there, but the clash of the titans in the top lane, Flandre versus Amazing J, that was very cute.
Looks like it is actually a Hex Drinker first out of Flandre to deal with that Fizz, and a Phage on top of it. Oh, the hook finds Deft. There goes the Lantern. He hops over the wall, gets kicked right back around. Martin gets another kill.
Those childbearing hips on Tristana. Ella threads the hook perfectly. Beautiful follow-up from Beast with the insect, but I'd be mad. If that hook hit me, I'd be,
unhappy. Well, EDG are currently down 4-1 right now. They do have the first dragon, but it's a 1,500 gold lead traded over to Snake because of it.
The thing, though, is that the gold counter on top is not counting for the invisible power that the dragon is going to give you.
Yeah.
So have to keep that in mind. Snake, though, in a much healthier spot this time around than last game.
Yeah, certainly much more comfortable in this set. Pawn on that LeBlanc is looking to get just a little bit aggressive, but can't quite find anything.
And look at the response out of Yu, immediately going for the Abyssal Scepter.
Ooh, this is the play in the mid lane.
Oh, it was with the Gangplank ultimate. Then Yu's going to step forward here, and Pawn's going to tap him with the W.
Wow. Melee range distortion.
So technically still a 2v1.
Yeah.
Pawn getting the advantage, however.
Flandre not quite able to do enough damage just yet to help pick up that kill, but I'm sure he's going to continue trying to snowball that Gangplank passive as best he can. He's already about 17 CS ahead of Amazing J. Probably a little bit more in terms of overall gold because of that Gangplank passive. We'll have to see where he ends up in this set, if he can be a little bit more effective than Syros in the wildcard qualifier, while Snake, we're trying to set up a gank on Pawn.
Always risky to attempt to gank a LeBlanc, obviously one of the most mobile champions in the game with her Distortion and her Mimic available to her. But can't allow Pawn just to sit back and eat all of this free gold, as well as, again, picking up that 2v1 kill in the mid lane on Yu.
Clear love. going for a bit of a deep ward himself, will smite the Wolf camp to get vision of Beast right now, and now you as well, as that blue buff spawns. While Snake on the bottom side continue to try keeping Deft down. He's only down 10 CS, but that's 2 kills now onto Martin as compared to the one that we had earlier.
Big thing also is that Martin now has this Trinity Force available to him, so the trade potential is much more dependent on if his rocket or his phosphorus bomb connects, and if he can then immediately proc the Sheen versus just the flat BF 80 damage coming out of Deft.
Continue to monitor that trade and see if Deft can keep up with the damage that Martin is sure to be putting out once he starts grouping up with the rest of his team. And you know, this is a patient game. Snake have found a few picks, they've found a few kills. EDG have tried to find a few kills, not quite so successfully. Clearlove looks like he's having a bit of trouble on this Elise. Really just not showing himself anywhere too important on the map.
He's got a 10 CS lead, though, between him and Beast, so Beast has compensated for the fact that he's got 2 assists and a single kill. But it does matter a lot in terms of just raw gold, just because jungle camps are going to count for more than your lane creeps. So 10 CS between junglers is a bit more significant, but you are absolutely correct. This is not near the type of pressure that we would normally see Clearlove exert on any one of his other junglers, which is why I really like the Rek'Sai ban. Does finally find the pink ward, though.
Yeah, finally going to clear that out.
But again, this is EDG. They elongate the lane phase. Now we're starting to see Mako roam around, but their win condition so far is the dragon objective, and they do this because they think that they can win through their jungle control. So as this next dragon is setting up in 1 minute and 23 seconds, we see that Snake are moving into EDG's blue side, setting down deep vision. They do have an advantage onto this bottom side with the completed Trinity Force in Martin's back pocket.
Yeah, Beast looking for a gank as Snakes try to set up for a dive, but unfortunately he was waiting right on top of a ward. Out of vision right now, but Mako is going to lead the charge successfully. Jumps to a minion wave as Martin tries to bully down the turret. Doesn't succeed. He actually jumps forward. The knockup is going to find Martin. He's not quite able to secure a kill.
And again, 48 seconds on this dragon timer. Snake are in a good position to fight. They've got their initial itemization out in front of them, primarily between the 80 carries, so see if EDG actually can pull the trigger here.
Martin bounce away from the dark passage. 30 seconds for that dragon. Deft trying to take the lantern, but unfortunately he keeps clicking through it. One of the downsides of being on the enemy team from the Thresh means you can't quite always take their lanterns.
Thanks, John Madden.
Quite unfortunate.
Did you know to win the game you must destroy the Nexus?
Flandre continuing to farm it up in the top lane. Rather calm setup so far. Snake trying to look for some action, but EDG spotting it out.
Here we go, though. Another counter gank. This time around, Snake have brought Ella, and Mako is still locked down into that bottom lane. And they're collapsing on Dragon.
Looks like they are going to take the Dragon instead.
This is smart. Snake have the advantage in the bottom lane. Again, the difference between itemization and the initial lead that Martin's early kills gave him. Has the Trinity Force completed. He's able to force Deft and Mako underneath his team, so Snake are able to take this uncontested, and in response, EDG are actually looking for a dive.
Ooh, Fawn shows himself there as well. Flash gets Flandre forward. Cocoon lands, but the chain is going to follow it up. Flandre's taking a lot of damage. He crits it right back. Hexdrinker keeps him standing, and he gets out with his life.
And the early itemization on the Hexdrinker against the magic damage of Fizz, Elise, and LeBlanc. Payoff huge for Flandre right there as they sacrifice the dragon for no kill, so many expended cooldowns, and their mid-tier tower.
Not exactly a solid trade for EDG when it's all said and done.
Trade.
And they're going to lose the bottom tier one on top of it. EDG not looking so great in this second set. Seems like Snake are well on their way to creating that magic blueprint that can defeat EDG.
Seems to be in picking winning 1v1 matchups. But we'll see if they're able to transition this into their 5v5. Again, Snake are known as a 5v5 oriented team, and there's some synergy with their team composition. I'm just really curious how they're going to play around this Lee Sin in particular, because Lee Sin has a very interesting roller coaster of relevance in a game. Early game, you're awesome. You can kill enemy junglers, you can kill enemy laners. Mid game, you start to fall off because you're Lee Sin. don't really do as much damage. You're not as tanky as you really need to be. Ultimate has a bit more utility with it now, but late game, you come back strong because you just need that one insec.
Yeah, just the one kick. We'll keep an eye on Beast and see if he can find it as we're getting now to the 18-minute mark in this set. And, you know, speaking of team fights, what should we be expecting as Amazing J loops around? He's caught from both sides, however. Takes a lot of damage, gets kicked away from some of it. Beast gets burned down. No assist for Pawn as he's busy clearing the mid lane.
1-for-1 trade, but that said, so many resources expended invading EDG's topside jungle. Def does trade the bottom tier tower, but meanwhile, Martin hammering around topside.
Yeah, that top tier one looks to go down eventually as the wave is being pruned to bounce out as EDG look to set up a dive onto Flandre. They know he's got no flash, but the minion wave is cleared too quickly. They're trying to trade it around. Lots of damage, but he dodges, missing the knockup. They are going to get the execution. Def gets the kill.
So much damage coming out of this gangplank, though, but Pawn may have found you.
Yeah, he has indeed. Will he be able to chase the chain? Lands, he follows it up with another one. Flash over the wall. They're continuing to lock the CC, but it's not quite enough. Yu gets out with his life.
We have a game of chicken, though. Look at these 4v1 pushes happening right now.
Ooh, first team to back down loses. Looks like EDG break the tier 2. Snake are going to continue to try shoving forward for the inhibitor. EDG can't quite do the same against the combined effort of Snake.
The difference is the wave clear available. Fizz's wave clear versus Ari, it's still relatively early, so it's suicide to approach an inhib tower to try to push it down at 19 minutes with only 2 members, your Corki and your Thresh, but still not a bad trade for Snake at all.
Certainly not, as they are ahead 2,500 gold, 20 minutes in. Even in Dragons?
It just changes how much control they have over various areas in the map. So naturally, because Snake have pushed down 2 towers onto the top side, they have much more control over the top side of the map because their creeps are able to push that much farther down into EDG's territory, taking with them vision and information. On the other side, though, EDG now have much more control over the Dragon Pit area because on the bottom side of the map, their creeps can get that much farther down. So which is going to be more important at 20 minutes, Baron or Dragon?
So far, seems like everyone's playing nice and defensive. The duo of EDG are on the top lane.
Trying to push down the
Snake, are trying to get some action. Looks like Pawn gets caught out by the slow. He dodges back and loops around. Martin chases forward. The Phosphorus Bomb lands. Which one is he going to go for? Will it be the right one? Pawn dashes just in time to get out with his life, but Martin is on the chase.
So this time Pawn is actually buying time for something necessary.
Yes.
And it's that top tier tower to fall down underneath Tristana and Braum.
Oh, he's spotted out by a Clairvoyance, but will finally end up getting the execution. The tier 1 will finally end up going down. Mispositioning from Pawn, but they are able to take a turret off of it when it's all said and done, though Snake look to answer with some damage of their own.
This was the question, the wave clear available for EDG.
Oh. Beast missing the Sonic Wave. Cocoon lands, and Clearlove's barely able to keep the turret standing in time while Mako gets caught out on the side once again.
Ella's in front of him.
Yeah, Ella's looking to head him off at the pass. Will he be able to get out with his life? Dodges around the minion as Ella goes the wrong way. Beast has found him, however. Ward jumps, kicks him into the wall to buy time. The flash, the knockup. He's running to his team, but the flame pulls him back. Hook misses. Mako goes forward instead of back. He ends up going down, but Def gets crit. The rocket chases from Martin. They get 2 kills.
The damage out of Flandre's gangplank is massive, but Amazing J.
Oh, Amazing J gets caught by the back of the charm. He goes down as well. 3 members of EDG are dead. Snake are in front of the Baron, but they're not going to go for it.
And there's still some fight left in Snake, particularly in Flandre.
Ooh, Flandre gets caught, immediately cleanses the stun. Again, Pawn takes the brunt of the ultimate. Ooh, the hook narrowly misses that time.
And EDG are just high-fiving themselves into number disadvantage fights. With this, they will lose their control over the dragon area just because they're in 0 position to posture for it.
Martin recalling on top of a ward. Bit of a tricky situation, but the rest of his team is recalling as well, and it looks like Snake are just going to cede over the second dragon to EDG, as it looks like you and Flandre have recall.
Yeah, and they could have just collapsed back onto it. They had the health available, but Snake make a misstep, and EDG immediately strike. Martin is hanging around on the bottom of the pit, and here comes the teleport.
Yeah, this could be a fight. They're trying to burn through the Dragon's health as quickly as they can. It is going to be secured by EDG. Snake try to collapse. He turns it around. A lucky crit does a lot of damage. Mako gets caught. He's pulled in. The leap over the wall from Deft. He gets kicked in the face by Beast. Flash gets him out with his life only barely, what the rest of Snake are cleaning it up. Amazing J turns onto you. He's trying to bring him low while Pawn and Amazing J are turning now onto Ella. They succeed. Amazing J is doing so much work. Finally, the Tristana goes down to you. Beast flashes, misses it over the wall, but he dodges once again. He's turning, looking for the kill. They get the execution, and EDG, Pawn finds you. The auto attack, and ace for EDG.
From chaos, from a gold deficit, EDG came in from every single avenue in that team fight. People came in from over the Dragon Pit, from through mid lane, from bottom lane, from the ramp into the blue buff, and collapsed beautifully with wonderful coordination. That was insane.
I didn't even know that was possible.
When Clearlove in an interview, he was, oh, here we go. This is, just watch where everyone comes from here. So the teleport is coming through from Amazing J, and he's going to come in from the backside of the fight. You already have kind of two different fronts, and Snake are just grouped up as this rock in the middle of EDG. But they're just ripping through all of them. Beast gets distracted with Clearlove, and I really love the pick of Elise into Lee Sin because it denies the Sonic Wave onto Elise because of her Spiderlings, which is why Clearlove immediately transforms into Spider form right here. Not only because he's looking for the execution on his Q, but he's trying to get his Spiderlings up in front of him to block Lee Sin's connect.
Amazing play from EDG as they win the team fight.
Clearlove said in an interview that EDG really like playing with Lulu in particular just because of how they think about team fights, and Lulu is incredibly good at isolating targets. So even when you're 2v4, if you have a Lulu, you can draw out a fight long enough to come out on top. LeBlanc does a very similar thing with how quick, how mobile she is with her distortion, and that's literally what we just saw. Pawn, Amazing J, and Clearlove cleaning up of a fight because they were able to rip Snake in so many different directions.
Snake just weren't quite able to keep pace.
Evil?
They weren't quite able to.
Evil Knievel?
Not quite. And EDG are back in this game. They've got the second dragon.
Still at a gold deficit, however. So again, emphasize that. EDG just beat Snake in a 5v5 from a gold deficit.
But that's standing gold. There's another turret waiting for EDG to take. That will even it right back up.
Even it? Even Knievel?
It'll even the gold. But we'll see if they will be able to take it as Amazing J splits on the far side. He doesn't have teleport. The rest of EDG are starting to play around that dragon. There are wards all over the place.
Amazing J does not have teleport right now. It's not a massive problem simply because he's staring across from Martin at this point in the game, but they want to play with kind of dual pressure. Look at that Baron Pit. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 wards.
That's a lot of vision. You would imagine.
Just littered everywhere.
Yeah, lots of wards in that area, as clearly nobody wants to take any chances with that. Everyone's going to get some time to recall.
You can always tell where Lee Sin's been, where he's been fighting, because there's just these random wards. Little ledges for him set up.
Pawn has now completed a Zanya's Hourglass to deal with the Rylai's Abyssal as Yu looks for a bit more utility build on his Ahri to try keeping pace with the crazy team fights of EDG, and I think it's appropriate.
And this fits into the MO and the identity of Yu again. He's not, you know, even when he's playing an assassin, he's not that big assassination playmaker. He's about controlling the fight in front of him, offering his team utility, but he needs to be really careful because he's playing across from Pawn and that guy's crazy.
Yeah, Pawn leaps in front of a turret to try getting just a bit of damage. He succeeds. And is going to complete a recall of his own. EDG putting the pressure now onto Snake, knowing that they're much closer to even in this set. They're starting to play a lot more aggressively. I think you said it yourself. If a team in China knows that there's a 50% chance of them winning, they'll fight.
Yep.
EDG are looking for it right now.
Yeah, oh, they know. I mean, most of Snake's gold lead is actually on Flandre. This gold discrepancy in the CS, the fact that it's 241 to 215, it's a sliver of a lead. Now, this Gangplank is strong, you know, has his completed Trinity Force, but if he doesn't find that crit.
Yeah, that's going to be a tricky situation. You can see it's 1,000 gold ahead for Flandre right now, only about 500 gold ahead from Martin.
That's exactly the gold discrepancy that we see between EDG and Snake. So there you go. It's all on Flandre. No pressure.
But that is Snake's style. Whoa. Pawn.
Snake's style is one team fight, one game. So the longer a game draws out, that 35 to 55, where it's, you know, a single team fight into a Baron swing, that's where Snake can roll the dice and say, we can take games off of the top teams in the LPL.
Well, they're looking for some aggression right now. Amazing J split on the far side of the map as Flandre sets up a connecting barrel system. Just to make sure there aren't any hobbits in that river.
I don't understand that reference.
Hobbit.
Look at all those wards. So dragon spawning just about now. EDG do have the better posturing on this objective as well as the teleport available on the top side.
Gangplank looks to clear it out just a bit as Snake lead the charge forward. Pawn's caught on the side. He's kicked. Deft gets knocked up as well. They're chunked down to half health, but Amazing J buying time by fighting on the far side. The dragon is going to be secured. Mako's in the front line. He's soaking a lot of damage, but this is a tricky situation for EDG. They're dodging around as best they can. Amazing J tries to turn. Yu gets caught. They manage to pick off Beast. It's not quite enough, though, as Snake are continuing to kite forward, and EDG successfully get the dragon and get out alive.
Beautiful disengage, and again, just watching Snake's posturing, how huddled together they were able to stay that time around. And EDG, they're constantly trying to pull them apart, abuse their mobility and their individual 1v1 outplay potential.
Yeah, Beast was looking for the kick. He found it. He didn't quite have the backup of his team. Lee Sin just a little bit too mobile for the rest of Snake to keep up.
Just a general miscommunication between Beast and the rest of Snake. The fact that the core of Snake were looking to walk in 5v5 onto the Dragon Pit, but their jungler, the guy with the smite, was behind blue buff looking for the assassination on Tristana and LeBlanc.
Bit of an issue for Snake. Hopefully they'll be able to pull it back together because currently they're down.
That's so satisfying.
1-0 right now. If they lose another one, they will drop into the losers bracket to take on the losers of Xiaogu IG.
But a much stronger performance and showing from Snake already. They're still retaining their lead. Again, it isn't standing gold. It's mostly on Flandre's CS discrepancy. So if you take another tower, it's pretty much gone. Likewise, you're not accounting for the invisible gold and the shrink of the stats that those 3 dragons are giving EDG. But standard lanes, put Flandre on the right foot, get him that early blue buff, allow him to be the carry for your team. He's only sitting 1, 2, and 2, but with 294 CS, a completed Infinity Edge on his Trinity Force, this is an absolutely terrifying Gangplank. Can you imagine some crits onto a barrel system into EDG's back line? Flandre could single-handedly delete the entire team.
Ella looks like he's caught. EDG try to destroy him, and they succeed. Deft is the one who gets the kill. Pawn finds Beast as EDG continue picking their targets appropriately. Beast goes down, and Snake are falling apart. Amazing J looks for a flank on the side. Martin valks to safety.
So much vision denial from EDG. Look at all of the pink wards. Look at the limited numbers. What was once covered with 15 wards has been absolutely dominated and cleaned up by EDG. And it's that vision control from Mako that allowed them to make the pick.
Pawn finds Yu from the side. He's taking a lot of damage. Caught in the charm. Yu flashes and gets out alive. Martin running for his life as well. Deft gets dropped by a big one from Martin. EDG are split. This is not the way that they need to be fighting. Suros gets 2 kills and Pawn tries to get over the wall, but Flandre's trying to clean it up as best he can. Clearlove tries to kite it out. You don't want to be going toe-to-toe with that Gangplank. A 500 crit is going to land. The flash chain is going to miss, and Flandre sets up a barrel. Is he going to chain it together? Amazing J leads the charge. Flandre flashes over the wall, but Pawn executes him for the kill. The burn is not enough.
Flandre versus the world right now on this Gangplank. We talked about this build is so devastating. EDG cannot afford to not prioritize this guy. Big issue is that Deft overcommitted trying to find the reset on Martin and then just found himself right in Flandre's waiting hands. But Flandre saving Snake from destruction there. If EDG had gotten that team fight, rotated into the Baron, it would have been good night, Sweet Prince.
Well, luckily that soliloquy will continue on for Snake for now. We'll have to see if it ends up being in Hamlet or if it's going to be in a happier play. As EDG... Okay. As EDG continue to try pressuring their vision forward. Mako will clear out that pink in front of the Baron, while Amazing J again split pushes on the far side. The AD Fizz been relatively successful so far, 2, 3, and 6. It's certainly no Gangplank, but he's been playing remarkably well. Amazing J filling in for Koro.
And this is, you know, Amazing J's champion, which is funny to say when Flandre's in a game, because he's also very well known for his Fizz top. Both these guys know these matchups inside and out, but here we go, Clash of the Titans, and Amazing J says, no thank you.
A 1200 crit to clear out an entire minion wave.
It's just so satisfying to watch, though.
I think the interesting thing is that despite being down in CS, Amazing J is actually ahead in experience. He's level 17 to Flandre's 16. Pawn, ooh.
I think he's playing with his food.
Yeah. Pushing it around the plate a bit, but not quite consuming it just yet. Amazing J continuing to buy time for the rest of his team as EDG pressure forward. Their Dragon's about to spawn once again.
Yeah, they're just trying to get their backs in, make sure that they have good counter vision on Baron should Snake try to make a play on it while EDG commit to the Dragon Pit. But otherwise, staggering their backs, making sure that they're all spending their standing gold and souping themselves up for this 4th Dragon.
Yeah, recalls coming in nice and timely. As EDG are hitting some scary breakpoints and Snake look to match with some scary breakpoints of their own. This is Dragon number 4 for Snake. They took Dragon number 5, 29 minutes in. Whoa, Pawn.
Did he get that? No. Did
Mako? I think Mako got it. Yeah. Mako stealing away the red buff from Snake. Not even Martin's able to get it. And EDG, they're starting to become that late game powerhouse.
The EDG of 2014 were known for their Samsung Blue-esque quality of team fighting, but here we go, Snake, round 2 on this Dragon.
They're dashing forward, Pawn waiting in the wings. He's going to look for a squishy target on the side. Can he find them? Dragon 4 secured, Pawn goes in, doesn't find who he wants. Knockup is going to find Ella. Amazing J is going to get on the Beast on the far line. Pawn is caught. He's taking the ultimate right now. The big one lands, but the rest of Snake have backed out.
Again, Snake, like a rock, like a boulder, huddled together, trying not to get spread out. EDG continually applying pressure from the side, from behind, from in front, trying to pull them apart, trying to isolate them and make the 1v1 outplay.
Yeah, Pawn healing as quick as he can. Right now it looks like Snake, we're setting up a bit of a death push right there, but EDG aren't going to fall for it instead. They're going to take the fast track down the mid lane, wards over the wall. They're ready to take a tier 2. They're finally going to be in the gold lead for the first time this game.
Snake are just getting shoved around the map right now, herded like sheep.
Oh, Deft snags a bit extra gold as Flandre decides to donate that over with a barrel. He continues to chase forward, not quite letting EDG recall. Pawn not even going to finish his own recall on the other side of the map as he is forced to group up with the rest of his team. Yu almost gets caught, but gets out with his life. No ultimate. Doesn't quite need it just yet. Fizz and LeBlanc, try catching those two. Those are two of the slipperiest champions.
But there's a lot of mobility from Snake's side as well. The fact that you have Ahri, that you have Lee Sin, Corki is a self-sufficient AD carry with his Valkyrie. Likewise, then you have the Dark Passage. So, you know, Snake should be able to keep up with the distortion and the playful trickster.
Let's see if the Rock can stand together, can stand strong, or if EDG will successfully storm.
The problem is that they don't have the damage. So it would be one thing if you set up your line of scrimmage. So if Snake's going to be huddled together, that you set up your big tanky front line. You don't have a tanky front line. You have a Lee Sin and you have a Gangplank. You have a Corki. It's not like you're creating a line of scrimmage for your hyper carry Jinx or your Vayne to go nuts. I mean, you effectively drop the Dark Passage, you huddle together and you pray. So I just feel like how Snake are playing this composition is very interesting, and not necessarily as efficient as it could be.
Pawn with blue buff continues to clear wave after wave. He still hasn't gotten a chance to recall as he's desperately looking for it. Big wave prepared on the bottom side of the map, forces Flandre to respond. He's going to clear it in just about 1 or 2 barrels.
A single barrel. Oh, you missed it, Observer.
And the wave has now been cleared. EDG aren't quite able to take too much with it. They buy enough time for Deft to recall. He's now got a Blade of the Ruined King.
I mean, the onus is on Snake right now to be proactive. EDG are more than happy to just sit back for the next 6 minutes, look for that 5th Dragon win conditional, look for the free Baron. Snake are forced into a maneuver, and that forces them to possibly act when they're not ready.
The longer this game goes on, the closer it's going to get to that 5th Dragon. And eventually Snake will have to fight whether they like it or not. They're finally going to give up a bit of ground to EDG as they group up in the mid lane. Things have been very patient around the set. Nobody wants to make any mistakes. Nobody wants to take any chances.
It's because again, you know, Snake, how they're trying to team fight with their composition, it's not the best way to go about it. You need to start looking for picks, you know, the Insec or even the Ari Charm, the Death Sentence. You have a lot of non-committal CC outside of the Lee Sin, but their vision control isn't on par for that type of play. The way that they're structuring and standing their team fights, they don't have the hyper carry or the tank line to do it like that. Whereas, you know, at some point, Deft on this Tristana level 16 now is just going to be able to crush through the majority of the front line and reach the back line.
We'll see if Snake can change their style up sufficiently in order to bring EDG down. So far, they're taking it very patiently, waiting for EDG to make a mistake, which is a dangerous game to be playing.
I actually think it's the other way around, that EDG are just waiting for Snake to make a mistake. Again, the onus is on Snake to act right now. You have a window of opportunity that is closing in the next 1 minute and 20 seconds because of that 5th Dragon. But then likewise, you know, EDG, they can make the call, okay, we don't want to fight this 5v5 or maybe one of us gets picked off, let's look towards the Baron. So, you know, Snake are pulled between these 2 big pressure points on the map, and EDG have full control over it. They have superior vision control, constantly moving in after Snake, as you see them doing now on the map, clearing out their vision. They're the ones with the 5th Dragon win condition. So, you know, Snake, they have to act.
Seems like they're trying to now as they're grouped up in the mid lane. Flandre will find Amazing J, dodges out of the barrel, still takes just a bit though. The cleanse drops the fish, Flandre sidesteps it. He's doing a lot of damage. Hexdrinker buys him time. He's healing back up now. The barrel is going to catch up, and Flandre solo kills Amazing J.
Beautiful preparation from Flandre, setting down his barrels and just creating a massive space across that lane where it was just dangerous for Flandre, or excuse me, for Amazing J to fight on.
Meanwhile, Snake now have got that window open once again.
But this is what it comes down to. So yeah, they made the pick. That's what they needed. Now they have a 4v5 advantage for the 5th Dragon, but then it opens up the Baron for EDG. And this is why EDG get to be patient here. Snake need to be perfect.
Tricky situation. We'll see who's going to pull it off successfully. Dragon has just spawned. Flandre looks like he might just try to solo it as he drops a few barrels.
This is a good call. This is probably the smartest call that Snake have made over the entirety of the series. Deny the 5th Dragon, but don't give up your pressure on the Baron.
Yeah, but Dragon number 2 is about to be secured. There they go. And EDG are just now getting their top laner back as Amazing J spawns. And they're going to get some nice timely recalls back in. Seems like EDG are going to be forced to wait once again.
It's fine. They have many more chances before that becomes a big power play for Snake. Again, they're only on their 2nd Dragon versus EDG's 4th.
42 minutes in. Snake fighting for their chance to go to Worlds. They're taking it very slow. EDG making a bit of a comeback in game number 1, certainly making a big splash with that amazing game, but in game number 2, starting to show us that yes, they are still human. are nice and patient.
Well, this is also, again, where Snake thrive. We talk about their win conditions. 35 minutes, 55 minutes. A single team fight. EDG have been getting the better of them over the course of this game, but normally you don't want to look across from Snake at 55 minutes.
Yeah, a bit of a tricky situation.
Especially with this gangplank. 4-3-2 now.
Hook finds Mako, but as you mentioned, non-committal CC. They don't quite follow it up. Instead, just continuing to fight over the vision as Pawn looks for a pick on the side. And Amazing J might try to solo this gangplank once again. The moment he walks into the brush, he's going to take a crit to the face. Half of his health is gone. Flandre once again cleanses it out. And Amazing J wants the solo kill this time. He's going to take another barrel. He's going solo. He goes down, but Pawn's there to clean up the mess that his top laner has made. Flandre's dead, and the rest of Snake are splitting on the opposite side. They know they've only got to drop Deft, but they can't quite make it back to him. Mako, the front line, doesn't make it over the wall. He goes down. Yu finds Clearlove. He's going to get dropped as well. The clear is fantastic, but Clearlove finally ends up going down.
But here comes Pawn.
This is a scary situation. Pawn is spotted out. He jukes around to the side, manages to get the end of the play. Chain is going to miss. He jukes around. There goes the false bomb. He's solo. Zanyas keeps himself alive, but the Chain finds him in the face. Deft 1v3. The rest of his team is dead. He's trying to kill Beast. He succeeds. He dodges the Foss and the hook. Chases forward. Kills Martin. Chases forward again, gets flayed out of the damage portion of it, but Ella has been caught. He goes down, and Deft comes up huge.
Deft just saved EDG this game. I am corrected. That was the best call that Snake had made, but Deft goes Super Saiyan on the back half of that team fight. They saw that Pawn and Amazing J had committed too many resources bottom. Immediately Snake pulled the trigger and they engage 4 versus 3. Mako fails his flash. Clearlove's caught initially, but hero Deft.
Oh man, here comes a barrel. It's going to crit into the minions. Doesn't quite clear the wave. The inhibitor is low. It goes down. Flandre cannot keep it alive. And Deft, skirting around the edges of those barrels, gets out with his life and an inhibitor.
But this is the power of the EDG roster. Because you have so many superstars, you have Pawn, you have Deft, you have people like Amazing J and Koro in reserve that, you know, if Pawn has an off game, Deft can just step up and go massive. If Deft's just a sideliner, you have Pawn on Twisted Fate playing out of his mind.
Oh, they were looking for the Dragon Steel with the gangplank, but not quite able to find it. EDG secure the Baron for themselves after skirmishing around it for the past, I believe, 16 minutes or so. And EDG have blown this game open.
45 minutes, we came into a single team fight scenario, and again, EDG just managed to scrape by against Snake. We're now looking at the power play on the bottom side of the map with the Baron. We do see Pawn doing some initial scouting, but
yeah.
2-minute warning on this 5th dragon, and this looks like it could spell the end for Snake.
This is a very scary situation. They've got to deal with the Baron buff right now. Pawn clearing out the vision of Snake as he charges forward. Baroned up Super Minion is going to lead the way down the mid lane. And EDG looks like they're going to start pressuring on that bottom lane as they've got a wave prepared on the opposite side of the map. But the Death Push connects this time. Clearlove gets caught. He gets comboed out, but he's still alive. Amazing J dodges from the side. He gets out of the hook, but here's Pawn and Deft still untouched in this set.
I mean, that was it for Snake. They just pretty much blew every single ultimate right there. The Gangplank ultimate is just about to come off of cooldown. You still have the Spirit Rush from Ahri, but so many resources just got spammed on Clearlove's face, and he just walked out of it.
Yeah, back up to full health. Recall and Home Guard got him right into the Dragon Pit once again. Now it's a minute away from that Dragon 5 Pawn. Looking for the assassination. Don't think he'll be able to find it, as it looks like Beast walks the safe way to safety.
Death set up a massive slow push into the top side, so you see all those red dots. Someone will eventually have to take care of those. And again, EDG are playing around different pressure points of the map. He's created a massive push in the top lane, and they're playing towards the bottom side.
Not to mention the Super Minions shoving down that mid lane. Baron buff is still up for about a minute and a half. So after this Dragon 5, EDG will have about a minute to shove forward. Pawn splitting on the opposite side, shows himself. Snake, let's see if they respond appropriately. like they are starting to pressure forward now. Pawn has cleared the wave. It's do or die time. Deft, whoa, narrowly gets out of the Sonic Wave. You gets caught by the Cocoon and destroyed by Amazing J. Pawn's not even there, but he doesn't need to be. Deft is caught on the side as it looks like Beast is going to try getting the kill, but unfortunately he doesn't do any damage on Lee Sin. He's at the end of the roller coaster. Amazing J with a triple kill now. And Pawn gets the kill onto Martin. That's 4 members of Snake dead. 70 seconds on the death timer. Beast is the last one alive. He's going to recall, but they've got Baron buff for another 20 seconds. They're rushing forward. EDG want to make it to round number 2. Beast tries to get the kill, but EDG style on him. They're on the Nexus turrets. EDG are advancing to the winner's bracket.
And after a slow grind, EDG come out of top, finally taking the gold lead and just choking Snake out in the end.
Yeah, finally taking the win 2-0. EDG showing us that they still have it in a 28-minute slaughter fest of a game number 1 and then a 50-minute patiently drawn out game number 2. EDG win the series. Deft, you can see him holding his head in his hands, single-handedly turning that fight.
He does not feel good. I think that reflects very clearly in his face, but EDG, like you said, we just got 2 very different looks from the team. Now Snake, they do fail here, but they're not out of the tournament. It's double elimination, but EDG, they are 1 best of 5 away from representing LPL on the world stage.
Yeah, this is huge for Edward Gaming. If they can make this happen, that would be fantastic. And Snake, unfortunately, they do drop into the losers bracket. They've got to go through 2 best of 5s now if they want to make it. And this is going to be really difficult. Amazing J, you can see him on your screen, filling in for Koro, played exceptionally well.
Side, Beast not looking as confident. Again, Snake have multiple chances left for them. They're not down and out, but you have to think after this, what more do you have? You still have to face Xiaogu and Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, definitely a tricky set. And of course, we do have that match coming up next, Xiaogu and Invictus Gaming, to fill us out with that second set of the night. But the EDG, the dynasty, still lives.
It was a defining moment for the organization. How would they bounce back from defeat at the LPL playoffs? Big thing, draft phase looks so much cleaner this time around from EDG, especially coming out to kind of, some new champions, Gangplank showing his face, Fiora banned a couple of times, so finding their comfort there. Nothing too extreme or out of the ordinary in terms of the meta picks, but Clearlove finally putting on his Elise pants.
Yeah. He gave us a show with that one, and while it wasn't too fantastic during the laning phase, he could find cocoons in team fights that would make your head spin. I mean, that final pick onto you, that was the last nail in the coffin for EDG.
Yeah, and a big thing of the fact is that Snake's vision control was just very suspect that entire series, especially in Game 2.
Well, we're going to toss it out to our analysts who are going to break us down through game number 2.
Thank you, Seda and Froskurin. And a very different second game there, Rusty, to kick things off at EDG. They do get the 2-0. They advance around further. Just 1 best of 5 to play against the winner of our next series.
That's right. Not far away now for EDG to make it to Worlds, where they were going to go again. We mentioned it after the last game. They had this period of hiccups where they seemed to lose those best of 5s, but they've come back with a resurgence right now, and they took it to Snake. Even after a shaky start, they came back really well.
They did. They just played damage control really well. They made sure they stayed on top of those objectives. Dragon especially has been a big sticking point for EDG, almost ever since I feel like the spring, actually, where they won, but the Dragon control looked a bit shaky, and it's nice to see them play 2 very different comps. Clearly, they're on a very different type of jungler on Elise, and them still just feel very smooth, very in control, and just confident in the late game this time.
It's like the team fighting just feels very smooth because of the Elise. It struggled a little bit early game. I think that's safe to say, but once they found their stride, particularly around the Dragon and Baron control that you mentioned, that's where EDG started to come back and reign supreme in that game.
Yeah, it was a pretty chaotic game, especially in the first 20 minutes or so. We do have a replay to kick things off here. Some of these fights were pretty long this, though. Much earlier in what was quite a long game, about 20 minutes in.
Yeah, no, this is a really cool example of how Snake actually performed in this game. And it was a mechanic show. It was Beast going massive the entire time, pushed them through that early game, what was going to be a pretty big trough. And you need to be ahead against this EDG team comp because they snowball super hard if they ever get ahead. So roll this one through and just all eyes on Beast, because this guy on this Lee Sin, he's the one that sets everything up. Not only dodging the Braum Q, gets in there and ensures that the rest of his team's able to put down damage. EDG, they start to try and turn this around, but Flandre has arrived and he just presses Q, crits on top of their faces, and everyone just dies. A single auto attack from the Corki to follow that one up. Amazing J has now met his untimely demise, and this is an 8-3 scoreline right now for Snake in a situation where they look completely in control. They just couldn't close the game out or create a bigger lead than what they were looking for because they let EDG trade with them constantly.
Yeah, and again, it was around those objectives. Kills here and there were a couple picks, but it was mostly Snake in the early game dictating pace on that front. But again, around the Dragons, EDG just literally snuck them out from under their nose, and Snake could never get control around the Baron to really force a fight when they were ahead.
Yeah, that's right. And they were giving free towers, essentially. All these situations where Snake were finding these great engages. They weren't controlling their minions in the sideways. They weren't placing down vision everywhere. They were letting EDG get gold needlessly. And that's what kept them in this game until the Dragons presented themselves.
Yep, we have another replay now. This time, EDG might have brought it back a bit. It's actually very soon after that last little fight. Like we said, Snake just won a fight. They go up a couple kills, but EDG are already on the Dragon 1 minute later.
Yeah, now there's a couple really important facts to note in this fight is that Pawn is doing a lot of the work with Amazing J, but this guy, the deft Tristana plays, it looked really stupid, but it worked so damn well. Roll this one out and notice the fact that they've just forced the Dragon immediately. They try and get back. Deft just hits him, thinks he's going to get a kill, and just jumps straight in. If we could just pause it about now as well, it'd be fantastic because Mako's about to die. Deft, he is, for some reason, he's so in that he has jumped to try and kill Flandre and looks like he's going to get himself killed. Now, keep in mind that Pawn is here. Fizz has already got the flank. He's coming in from the left side. Yeah, he's out that way somewhere. So they're going to actually catch him. But watch what Def does here to live for as long as he does, because he uses his ultimate and stops the Lee Sin follow-up on that Q. So we'll roll this one through now and notice that he jumps, flashes, cancels the damage, and keeps him in the rest of the team. Beast has put a lot of effort and time into trying to take down Def, and he doesn't, and which means you has to go and secure that with the kill. And meanwhile, the rest of the team of EDG, because they put all of this effort into getting just Deft, they're able to do this. Now he changes to the spider form, has the single spiderling, but gets the Q in time. And this honestly should not have happened. This should be Snake's winning team fight. But it's turned around from the smallest details. The target selection of Snake has just changed this all around.
Yeah, and just so many little things, so many big micro plays from Amazing J, from Deft, of course, and even Clear Love towards the end there, as well as Pawn, of course. He's always on top there. Just really smart little things. And again, Mako was dead. Deft looked like he was going to die, but EDG still managing to pull it out.
And it happened time and again. Deft looks like he's going to die, but somehow just pulls out these big plays. And honestly, you have to look back to the drafting very quickly and touch on the fact that there is a Braum. And that denies everything that Snake was able to offer in that team comp. The Gangplank even does less damage. You look at the Ari, it gets blocked. Everything gets blocked. Just the fact that Mako is dying first is actually a really bad thing for Snake because he's blocking too much and they have to kill him first to get him down.
Yeah, just sponging all that damage in EDG. It was a very back and forth game still, but again, they kept the Dragons up. They were confident in their team comp in their late game. They didn't even need the split pushing of Amazing J. He honestly did so much team fighting on this Fizz because his lane did not go that well.
Even when he was in his lane, he was trying to just 1v1, was not looking to split push, wanted to try and kill people. Of course, Flandre got the better of that deal multiple times.
Yep, certainly did, though. We have another replay now, of course, and this one, if you thought our last exchange was long, this is a nice long one. You can see Amazing J trying to split push. Think he's having a good time? Having a real bad time.
Yeah, just start this one up. It goes for about 7 years. Amazing J, as per usual with Flandre, gets crit and just decides, you know, it's time to fight. Good cleanse. The important thing to note here is that LeBlanc's making his way down at the same time as this engage is happening. Flandre, he does super well to get a kill at all, but he's used the ultimate, so he's no longer going to be a factor in this engage. Now, keep your eyes on Braum, because he gets a passive proc onto you, and this is where it all starts to crumble. Again, it looks like it's going really well, but you uses the ultimate to get close. Doesn't have a zone use to actually block any damage, and immediately they pick up a kill, and that was a key member that goes down. Fancy feat from Pawn, though. You have to keep that in mind here. He dodges out of everything. So does Deft. And he lives for a prolonged period of time, which allows the Tristana, allows Deft to come back in, take down one member, get the reset on the jump and actually go for a blasting one Corki as per usual on Corki builds, no problem. Gets the second kill. Target selection here from Deft is perfect. Doesn't get the jump onto Ella, was a nice play, but is faster. So inevitably going to get that triple kill. And this whole trade was another fight that should have went well for Snake.
Yep.
Because there was two bottom. The LeBlanc and the Fizz was dead. The top laners had killed each other, so they were written off. But somehow that fight went for long enough that they were able to bring the LeBlanc from bottom, come back to that other lane, and all things considered, EDG from the jaws of defeat in fights they shouldn't have won, they turn it on.
Yeah, it really did. And again, you look at those fights, the two ones that we highlight there, how did EDG win? It's by pulling Snake across the map, using a lot of their mobility, like the Fizz, like the LeBlanc, even the Tristana and her jumps do a similar thing. And you saw in that last exchange, if Pawn hadn't come in and forced Martin's QSS, Deft can't come in, because Martin had to leave. He's like, I'm going to die if I face check Tristana. And Deft's like, oh, it's a jungler who doesn't scale that well, and a Thresh. I'm good.
And it's a great point that you bring up as well, because the itemization was actually one of the bigger factors as to why that game actually went quite poorly for Snake. They forced a QSS and a Hex Drinker because Flandre is trying to win his lane, which means Deft is doing a lot of free damage. A blasting one for the Corki, which became a Void Staff. Pretty needless, but let's just say he went for that anyway because he wasn't really auto-attacking. He was using primarily spells. I mean, realistically, could have just switched and gone all AP Corki at that stage. The Void Staff is a very big investment in terms of gold. Went for GA, perhaps would have lived for longer. Things considered, so itemization that Snake have been forced into getting, all of the QSSs, the Void Staff.
Phantom Dancer.
Yeah, Phantom Dancer on the Gangplank. It's given a lot of advantages to EDG in terms of effective fighting, because in China, if the damage items are the same, they can fight.
Yeah, they certainly can. You could see Snake, they couldn't find the picks, they weren't comfortable around the objectives, and EDG, a very close game, honestly, but really well played towards the end specifically to finish it off. But don't forget, Snake, they're not done yet. It's double elim, so EDG, they'll move on to the next stage. They'll play a best of 5 in the winner of our next best of 3, and Snake will play again tomorrow. They'll have to run through the losers bracket, but they can still make worlds.
Exactly right. It's now an uphill battle for Snake, but of course, EDG, one best of 5 away from their spot in Worlds.
Certainly are. We're going to go to a break, but when we return, our second match for the LPL regional qualifiers will be here.